First and foremost, before we get started, I like to give all praises and honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rekah Kwadash, and double honors to those great millstone, while unto truth, and also to those elect that scattered abroad. I like to say, Shalom. Come back here today with another great, powerful lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. And the title of the lesson is Nationwide Protest, the Beginning of the End of America. So I like to say shalom to all our listeners and learners. Hope to sweep you today and guide you back in the path of righteousness and back to your true power, which in fact is Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. So before we start today's lesson, I have a few news articles, but we'll start here first with this one here by USA Today. And it reads that no King's Day protest planned for June 14th would aim to reclaim the American flag. The 1,800 New King protests across the country are meant to express frustration over President Trump actions that organizers say are authoritarian. Let's get a little bit more. It said protests are planned for 1,800 communities across the country, June the 14th, the same day President Donald Trump holds a military parade in Washington. Said for decades, the GOP has claimed most of the symbols of patriotism, including the American flag, but the people protesting Trump, a Republican, says they are the true patrons now. So we're seeing right now a lot of what uproars of the people. We're seeing protesting throughout America, across America. It's constantly rising up. That's why I said nationwide. And also we know that it's going to be worldwide very soon. It's already protesting across several countries overseas also. So we seeing that right now this get ready to be a global event. So all of a sudden now this man wants to have a military parade, in which in fact is going to be on his birthday. So we're going to measure the time diligently, so we seeing right now, whether they want to say it or not, we are preparing for war. And also it's already rumors that that Israel is getting ready to attack Iran without America consent. So we already know when you go to Jeremiah chapter 49, it said the least of the flock should draw them out. So we already know right now that any given day, anything can go down, all hell could break loose. And also we know that another reports that 270 million Russian bomber is sitting in our backyard 400 miles off the coast of Alaska, if I'm not mistaken. I think I have a little short news clip on that also. So we're seeing right now they're constantly it's constantly organizing. They're constantly bringing forth these I call them crisis actors, coordinating things across of America. Also they were saying that all this protest that is planned for June the 14th, they saying that George Soros was the one that is in charge. So we already know what this red devil is all about. We already know that he was the one that organized that Black Lives Matter. But we already know the agenda. We already know the wicked devices. You know what I'm saying? What they're always are trying to put into place. Right now the Lord's constantly making Esau bearer and bearer. So we already know that we're coming upon, a great time of trouble that we've never seen before. Civil war, protesting, rioting, what I'm saying? Well, also we're coming upon a great economic collapse. We know that the end of the dollar is the end of America. So that's where we at, the beginning stages of the end of America. We're seeing it left and right. So people right now, we're seeing that people right now, it's a lot of sense of uncertainty. They're not trusting the government. They shall not regard their kings or their princes. So we're seeing that happening right before even though it's engineered or manufactured, but it's all through the spirit and the power of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. And also we already knowing that it was reports that Donald Trump is sending additional National Guard troops to Los Angeles, California. So also along with the Marine, Why are there? Why are there? They are there. We already know it because we see it right now. It's already rumors of wars are all over the place. You seeing how this thing is constantly playing out. They constantly distracting you with these protests, but it's already another hidden agenda. Which in fact, all hell is getting ready to break loose. They get ready to declare martial law. Also, we knowing that that war is coming upon American shores very soon. The invasion of America. Russia and China troops in collaboration with the EU, the NATO, as they get ready to come into this place. We constantly warning you about this left and right. So, so it's gonna be a time of trouble that we've never seen before once again. So we knowing that these things are constantly picking up. Also, it was saying that it was a curfew was set for LA, so now they're officially slowly locking down LA, Los Angeles. That's we constantly seeing these things. So the Lord has set up watchmen to warn you of these impending dangers. So we coming upon these times. A lot of things are constantly happening left and right. Right before our eyes, man. You were seeing rumors after rumors. So right here, there's no King's Day protest. We're gonna see what happened Saturday, the 14th. We don't know what may come, but we're gonna measure the time diligently. But we knowing that what Satan is trying to get that advantage, which in fact is total control, put this new digital system into place. And also it was saying during this protest that they were going to use this digital surveillance. I think I got a little small video on that too, where they're going to use face recognition to see whoever is causing any type of problem, so we already know that this system is already into place. We already know that, once the dollar go, the system going to be online, and one thing about it that, and also we know that that grain of rice is fast approaching too. So now let's go here. Let's get this one here. It's another one I got here. Let's get this one right here about this protesting across America. It said protests against immigration raids and the deployment of the National Guard to Los Angeles have spread across the United States. These protests, which originated in Los Angeles, are now taking place in numerous cities, including Atlanta, Austin, Chicago, Dallas, and New York City, and many others, according to the New York Times and other sources. So let's get one of these little news articles. It says here, let's get this one here by AP, Associated Press. It said protests over immigration raids pop up across the U.S. with more planned. So as you know, I don't think I want to open it up. I might just open it up a little bit just to see what it says, but we pretty much know that all these things have been coordinated and organized, also, set up. This is the setup for what they get ready to put into place. They want total control to lock this country down and make you a petrol slave. So we're not going to get much of this. This one here, it says here, protests over federal immigration enforcement raids and President Donald Trump moved to mobilize. And this report is by AP, Associated Press. It said President Donald Trump moved to mobilize the National Guard and Marines in Los Angeles are spreading nationwide and are expected to continue until the weekend. So, all this has been set up all of a sudden, this is happening. But we already know that it's not about immigration enforcement. It's not about them coming to bring peace and to settle people down. It's not even about that. It's about total control, locking this place down, bringing forth this new digital system. That's what they're getting ready to put into place. And also, we know we read upon World War III. We already know that Israel is getting ready to strike Iran, but we already know what is getting ready to happen. Things are getting ready to go nuclear. So that's all we're going to get at that. Let's go here to this one here. Something else I got here. Let's get this one about this bomber. It says here, this one here about news break. That's something I'm just constantly seeing in the spirit. It said the U.S. on high alert after Russian deploy 270 million nuclear bomber alarmingly close to the coast. It says here, it said Russia has made its presence felt by stationing stationing its most lethal nuclear bomber just 400 miles from the U.S. soil as pressure amounts amid ongoing Ukraine peace negotiations. The decision comes amid an era of desperation following the destruction of several expensive aircraft in Ukraine, Operation Spiderweb. This month, the jet landed at Russian Andrea base in the eastern, I can't say that word, Choctaw region, merely 410 miles from Alaska. Analysis of satellite images confirm the jet presence. So right now, it's a lot of things that's constantly brewing. We seeing right now they're constantly preparing for war. Why are all these things are happening? We already know that they constantly poking the bear, and these things are coming at a fast pace. We already know that Russia will be a god to these other nations. And also we seen that Ezekiel chapter 30 war is constantly lighting up. The Lord is moving the chess pieces around. It says here, I got another report by Newsbreak. It said new intelligence suggests Israel is prepping possible strike on Iran nuclear facilities. U.S. official says. So, hey man, these things, man, we hear, man. It says here the U.S. has obtained new intelligence suggesting that Israel is making preparation to strike Iranian nuclear facilities, even as the Trump administration has been pursuing a diplomatic deal with Tehran. Multiple U.S. officials are familiar with the latest intelligence, told CNN. So that's all I think I'm going to get of this, But we seeing right now that these things are constantly picking up. So I got a video on this too. So right now we already know that Israel is the least of the flock. So we already know something Israel gonna do ill-advised is gonna get America involved, and both of them will be desolate together. But we knowing that Israel will be rebuilt back up. So these nukes are getting ready to fly. That will be the indignation of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua. The Lord's getting ready to judge these nations, very soon. Also, we know that first the Lord judgment will start at the house of Israel. You wicked Negroes, you wicked Latinos, you wicked Native Indians, the one that did not want to return to Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua, constantly scoffing and mock, thinking that you're a good case, relaxing in your leaves. And these things are constantly happening right before our eyes. Jacob's trouble is at the door. The hour of temptation is very close. We constantly warning you left and right. So now, before we start today's video, let's get us a quick precept. Let's go here to let's go here first to Isaiah chapter 19. Let's go here first to Isaiah chapter 19. Let's go there. I got a lot of tabs open and closed, some of them. Let's go ahead to Isaiah chapter 19, because this is exactly what's getting ready to happen. That's exactly what they want. Isaiah chapter 19 and verse 2. It says, and I will set Egyptian against Egyptian, and they shall fight everyone against his brother, and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. So this is exactly what we get ready to see, So the modern day Egyptian is the Americans, He will set American against American. So we seeing right now they have coordinated this June 14th, this No King protest across America. And one thing about it is exactly what they're doing. They're setting the stage, for order out of chaos, all hell to break loose. And right here, it says, they shall fight everyone against his brother and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. So exactly what we're seeing is it's going to be city against city. We already know it started in L.A. Now all of a sudden it's sprouting out throughout all these major cities, because they're preparing for war. Or preparing for war on who? On what? On the people right here. The Negroes, the Latinos, the Native Indians. Started with the northern tribe, but the people of choice is the people of the Negro. The so-called African American. And one thing about it, we already know once Jake get it popping, We already know that they're going to call martial law. They're going to bring in the military, and it's going to be a bloodbath. That's exactly what they want. But Esau is in for a rude awakening. And one thing about it, it's not going to work out the way he think it's going to work out. The Lord is getting ready to intervene on our behalf. The Lord is getting ready to come with great glory and great power. The Lord's getting ready to come and set everything back into order. That's where we at right now. We are constantly we're constantly seeing. We're seeing that the end is being revealed right before our eyes. Witnessing the end. I finally got it out right that time, and we're seeing that we are so very close. We're seeing that right now a war is brewing all across the world. Everyone is preparing for war, and seeing right now in our own backyard uprising of the people. Uproars of the people, sedition, rioting, looting. That's exactly what they want. They're setting the stage to bring forth this new system. And while, this could be a psyop, whatever it is, it's all through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushua, and the prophet. We have been warning you left and right. Because when the Lord bring it, there will be no more talking. So now, let's start today's video. And after the video, we'll start the lesson. And I hope that you will get edified. Close up some of these tabs. Let's start here first with this one.
We have significant breaking news right now. According to CBS News, Israel is fully prepared to launch an operation into Iran. U.S. officials are learning right now. This is one of the reasons why the United States has told some Americans to leave the region. And as a result, the United States anticipates that Iran could retaliate on certain United States bases and sites in Iraq. What this means is Israel could strike Iran. Iran could then strike U.S. interests in the region, and that could lead to a full-scale conflict in the Middle East this evening. Now, Steve Witkoff, Donald Trump's envoy to the Middle East, is still planning on meeting with Iranian officials this Sunday for a sixth round of nuclear negotiations. But right now, folks, tensions are at a boiling point. And if Israel launches a strike on Iran without U.S. approval, this could get bad very quickly. So spread the word. I'll do a full breakdown on my Substack link to bio, so subscribe for free and follow along for all the news you need to know about. More to come soon.
Are you coming to the tree? They strung up a man, they say we run free.
World War III update. The protests that are spreading right now are not what they seem. Today I'm going to be sharing perspective that you're absolutely not going to hear anywhere else. Protests are spreading to Atlanta, Chicago, New York City, LA, like clockwork, as if on cue, as if being fomented by some centralizing force. Obviously, that narrative is going to be heavily politicized, but I got some perspective that you absolutely are not going to get anywhere else. I guarantee you. Right now, they're talking about deploying the National Guard to these other states that are starting to show some signs of civil unrest. Still relatively small in scope compared to what we were used to in 2020 and even years gone by. These seem like fairly smaller scale disturbances that should not elicit the deployment of the National Guard, but we're going to get to why the government is overreaching in the way they are, and in some cases even leapfrogging the National Guard in violation of posse comitatus, putting actual Marines on the streets. Why would they be going to such an extent? Okay? Now, there's two things to consider here. One is timing. Look at the timing of this. What was about to happen? Ukraine, Russia on the brink of exploding. The Iran war on the brink of starting. All of a sudden, this issue that's been festering for months and months, that has been an ongoing issue. There have been arrests. There have been some notable cases, in fact, that should have compelled people onto the streets. But the question is, why now? Well, there's four primary reasons. One, in which I expounded upon in yesterday's video, or today's video, depending on when you watch this, and it was that they're using civil unrest as a pretense to build out and establish an administrative foothold that will be used to form the basis of civil defense infrastructure in preparation for World War III. They want to get military on the streets because when the shit hits the fan, they're not going to be able to coordinate that after the lights go out. So you have to do it first. Look, if you knew, before you laughed me out of the room, if you knew that the big day was coming, that we're in the penultimate phase of this whole experiment, and the big clash of global superpowers was right on the horizon, you would understand that you would need some sort of militant administrative framework in order to establish some measure of continuity of government after the inevitable happened. You need to have a way to lock people down, okay, when the shit hit the fan. This is not the Cold War. There is not a bunker on every street corner. There is not a hard and fast set of rules and protocols to follow down to the municipal level in terms of how to administrate aid and disaster mitigation as there was during the Cold War. So you need boots on the ground in order to facilitate that.
Now is not the time to be getting distracted with what's going on in America. Just last night, it has been reported that Russia has a $270 million nuclear bomber off of the coast of Alaska, 400 miles off. Do you guys remember last year when Russia had their ships off the coast of Florida, a few miles off? Russia is getting bolder and bolder. The enemies of America are getting bolder and bolder, especially in this time, looking at all of the disunity, the dysfunction within America. And I made a video a few weeks ago speaking about Trump's Golden Dome and how he announced it, and how what this would do is it would put pressure on the enemies of America to begin to make more advances on America, because it would be such an unfortunate thing for these people if America was to get this Golden Dome erected. I said that the window of opportunity for these people, for these nations, are closing, and they would more than likely take advantage of this opportunity while they still have it. Now, let's pray to God that nothing happens. Let's pray to God that this window does not get taken advantage of. But I believe that we are living in the end times, and I understand that there are a few things that will have to happen in the end times. One of those things being that America will have to be toppled over like a house of cards. It's written in Revelation 17 and 18. So when you see these things, like Russia having a bomber, $270 million, by the way, that's no light fee for one of these bombers. Off the coast of Alaska, 400 miles off. In the midst of all of these things, we're about to have Donald Trump's birthday and that military parade in Washington, D.C. this weekend with the protests at the same time. The only thing I'm going to tell you guys is to be in your Bible.
Welcome back. President Trump says anyone who protests at the military parade in Washington on Saturday will be met with very heavy force. He said that speaking to reporters in the Oval Office yesterday, issuing this warning.
We're going to be celebrating big on Saturday. We're going to have a lot of, and if there's any protester that wants to come out, they will be met with very big force. By the way, for those people that want to protest, they're going to be met with very big force. And I haven't even heard about a protest, but, you know, this is people that hate our country, but they will be met with very heavy force.
So it's a feature, not a bug. Saturday's parade estimated to cost around $45 million, marking both the 250th anniversary of the U.S. Army, but also Trump's 79th birthday. Joining us now, Democratic Congressman Jake Auchincloss of Massachusetts. Congressman, there's a lot of parallels that you're seeing between your experience having been in the Marines, serving at 29 Palms, training there, That's exactly what Marines on the ground in California.
So we're seeing right now that Donald Trump, is just constantly dismantling America. We're seeing it happening right before our eyes. And one thing it's all by design of who? Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua. Lord's constantly bringing this nightmare to an end, and we cannot wait, man. We constantly rejoicing. Let's go here first to 2nd Ezra chapter, if I can get it, if I get my Bible app to work right. Let's get it. Let's see, can I get it to act right? If I can get it to act right. 2nd Ezra chapter 9. Let's go here. We seeing right now that the end is, is slowly as it's coming full to instant. Right now, it's time to seek the Lord, and we constantly warn you, left and right, these things are becoming a reality. And also, we know that the grain of rice is right around the corner. War drums are beating any given day. 2nd Ezra chapter 9 and verse 1, it said, he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the sign pass, which I have told thee before. So that's what we're constantly doing. We're watching the signs. We're watching the prophecy. We're using that measuring stick, which in fact are the scriptures. So we're seeing that these things are coming full to fruition. They're lining up just like clockwork. Verse 2, it said, then shall thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. So Lord is visiting the world which he made. Right now we're seeing all these different things are happening, these events, these calamities, different things are happening left and right, back to back. Prophecies are speaking loud and clear. The Lord is visiting the earth that he created. The Lord is very near. These things are coming full to winston. At the end they shall speak and not lie. Verse 3, therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world. So exactly what we're seeing. Earthquakes pretty much every day in diverse places. Uproars of the people. People right now are very what is divided. A lot of people are against one another. They're against the government, against the government officials. They're not trusting the government. You're seeing right now that they are constantly trying to prepare to take over the government or to topple the government. That's why they're putting this military structure into place, to lock down everything. So we're seeing the uproars of the peace, sedition, rioting, protesting. A lot of these things are constantly happening. One thing about it, it's going to get worse and worse. Verse 4 said, then shall thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. Verse 5, for like as all that is made in the world has a beginning and the end is manifest. So the end is being revealed. It's more obvious and clear that we're living in the end time, right now, real time. So we're seeing right now that, we're at the end of an age, the end of an eon, the end of this wicked queendom, the end of this so-called white man, which in fact is the devil that the Bible speaks of. We're at the end of his rulership. We're constantly rejoicing. We are very excited. So we're seeing that it's being revealed. The end is being revealed. Right? A lot of our people right now are beginning to see, a lot of people that's not in the truth beginning to see that something is getting ready to happen. We're seeing it happening left and right, even though we sound like a broken record. But these are the times that we're living in. Luke chapter 21, and we'll start up around, I think it's around Luke chapter 21 and verse 9. Luke 21 and verse 9 said, but when ye shall hear of wars and commotion, be not terrified, for these things must first come to pass, but the end is not by and by. So right now, the end is not yet. Hearing these rumors of wars all over the place, between Israel and Iran, so we already know that they're getting ready. It's a possibility they'll get ready to go in and attack Iran nuclear facility, but we already know that the least of the flock should draw them out. And once that happens, we already know they will be totally destroyed. It's Bible prophecy comes to be fulfilled. Verse 10 said, Then said he unto them, nations shall rise against nations and kingdom against kingdom. So we're seeing that also. We're seeing Russia is rising up against what? The West and NATO. We're seeing that Iran is rising up against Israel and the West and also NATO. So we're seeing a lot of things are constantly happening. We're seeing these alliances that's coming together against what Babylon the Great, that whore that sits on many waters, they shall burn the whore. So we seeing that happening right before our eyes. Nation shall rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. Exactly what we seeing. Verse 11 says, and great earthquakes shall be in diverse places, famine, pestilence, and fearful sights and great signs shall there be from heaven. So exactly what we see, earthquakes pretty much every day. Famine, it's already saying that I think it was Whole Food, they had a cyber attack or something, and they had a shortage on food, so their shelves were very empty. So we coming upon that time, food shortage. Rolling blackout, cyber attacks, pestilence, these plagues, these outbreaks. These disease constantly on the uprise. Outbreaks. Sickness, death. A lot of things is coming upon us at a fast pace, and we're constantly warning you left and right. Fearful sights and great signs there be from heaven. So that's exactly what we're seeing. Volcanic activity, the blood moons, eclipse. We already seen that the moon constantly changing color pretty much every day. And also we seeing that the moon and the sun is out at the same time. We know that the earth is out of course. The Lord's got to come set up that righteous order. Also, the Lord is getting ready to come to renew the earth, to replenish the earth. You know what I'm saying? One thing about it, that's what we constantly warning y'all about, that cleansing agent from the Lord, that indignation of Yahweh by Hashem Abishai. We already in the Lord. The Lord is getting ready to return. That's what we constantly warn you. Let's read it once again. Luke chapter 21 and verse 11 said, and great earthquakes shall be in diverse places. That means in different places across, it's going to be globally. It said, and famines, food shortage, no water, no resource, homelessness, a lot of things is going, pestilence, plagues, disease, outbreaks. A lot of things is constantly increasing. This C19 is back on the scene. These STDs, a lot of things are happening. We constantly warning you. Fearful sights and great signs shall there be from heaven. That's exactly what we're seeing, that we are very close. So now let's go here to Jeremiah. Let's go here to Jeremiah. We'll get one more. Jeremiah chapter 30. Because it's even the time of Jacob's trouble, man. We here, man. Jeremiah chapter 30, and we'll start at verse 5. It said, for thus said the Lord, so we have heard a voice of trembling, of fear, and not of peace. Verse 6, ask ye now, and see whether a man doeth travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins, as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness. We're coming upon that time. Verse 7, at last, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. So we at the beginning of Jacob's trouble. We at the beginning of the end of America. We're seeing it left and right, but Jacob shall be saved out of it. Who is that? That is the elect, the true believers of Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua. The one is constantly magnifying his name. The one is constantly, being patient, constantly enduring. The great and glorious return of Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua. And Jacob is the progenitor of the 12 tribes of Israel. And out about we knowing that Jacob's name was later changed to Israel. So one thing about it is that, we're very close. And who would be the most in trouble would be the Negroes, the Latinos, the Native Indians. I'm talking to you. That day will be so great. And one thing about it, we already know when you go to Jeremiah chapter 13, 8, verse 8, I think through 9, it tell you that 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die, because they were that same rebellious house that did not want to return to Yahweh by Hashem, constantly scoffing and mock, constantly relaxing in their leave, still thinking that they have time. But we have run out of time. So Jacob's trouble is at the door. Let's go to this last and final script. Let's back up what I was just saying. Let's go to Mark chapter 13. We'll close out here. Mark chapter 13, verse 19. Mark 13 and verse 19. Let's close out here. It said, for in those days shall be affliction such as was not from the beginning of the creation, which the Almighty created until this time, neither shall be. So this right here is going to top everything that you ever seen. It's going to top 70 AD. It's going to top slavery. It's going to top all our affliction, anything that you ever know. It's going to be a time that never before and will never ever be again. So one thing about it, it's going to be very dark. It's going to be very, gloomy. It's going to be very, very perilous time that we're coming upon. Verse 20 said, and except that the Lord has shortened those days, no flesh should be saved, but for the elect's sake, whom he has chosen, he has shortened the days. So right now the days are short because time is constantly moving so fast. For what the elect say, the Lord is constantly doing a mighty work. And one thing about it, if the Lord don't come to deliver us, it will be no flesh saved alive, because this man will kill, destroy everything. You know what I'm saying? Including himself. He already destroyed the earth, but the Lord's getting ready to come back and destroy him. So we're seeing that the stage is set, protesting, across America, and also certain parts of the world. Also, we know that they're setting up this new digital infrastructure, and also we know that war is on the horizon. On the horizon. Also, we know that they get ready to come with that MOTB, that CHIP, that grain of rice shall not buy or sell with not having it under your skin. These things are coming a reality. And one thing about it, in that day, they shall know that a prophet was among them. So the title of the day lesson, once again, is Nationwide Protest, the beginning of the end of America. So I like to give all praises and honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rekah Kwadash. I like to say, Shalom, Kwam Yasharala, Shalom.